Hi, hello, this is Jules the Human here, and welcome to the Jules and Matt Anime Hour. I'm one of your hosts, Jules the Human, and today we are going to be talking about episode 13 through 16 of Black Clover. We are almost done. We are almost through with the first two arcs, and we started the second arc in this one on episode 14. But before we get into that, thank you so much for being here. And this is streamed live on Twitch, twitch.tv/Jules the Human, twitch.tv/JULES the Human on Twitch, and then everywhere else on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get podcasts and all that. That's where we go on after. And we're filming this one a little bit early because it is Thanksgiving. So we're gonna be doing that. And the episode, when you're seeing it on YouTube or Spotify or whatever, it'll be up on Friday. So you already know. You're probably watching that right now. But I am not, and I haven't been going on this Black Clover journey alone. I am joined by my co-host Matt Galley. Matt, we are almost through with all of the episodes. How did you feel about these 4 episodes that we watched?
Yeah, almost through with this batch of episodes. I have a lot of mixed opinions on this batch of episodes actually,
Okay.
but it's mostly down due to the pacing of how the episodes are structured and not the story that's actually playing out itself. Because we got into it a little bit in the last episode where you have those moments where they put stuff at the front that you've already seen, and then by the time you hit that midpoint like breakaway, you're like, bro, already? Like I feel like I've barely seen anything, and it's because
Before
we're
we
only getting a little
started,
bit of new stuff.
yeah, before we started, I was complaining to you about my journey through Hunter x Hunter. I'm on episode 120, 129, and they do that too. They're notorious for that too, and it's just like, man, this sucks. This is really. I think I counted on episode 15 or 16 of Black Clover, the ones that we were supposed to watch, um, and I think it was like 4 minutes of intro plus recap, and then like 1.5 to 2 minutes of end credits, and it's a 23-minute episode. And it's
Mm-hmm.
like, wow, this is insane. So it's kind of annoying, and there's not a whole lot of substance, but we're trying. The first like 5 minutes of every Black Clover episode is a recap, and I actually stopped watching because of it. Oh, really? What I was saying last time, Prince, and again, we're streaming live on Twitch. Um, I look for the Crunchyroll comment that gives me the timestamp. There's always a Crunchyroll guy, and I always send him an upvote. I'm like, "Yep, thank you, sir." I just open up the comments, and it's usually at the top, and it's like, "Start episode starts at 3:24." Boom, there it is. Skip ahead a little bit. Um, but yeah, we are streaming live on Twitch, and if you want to help suggest, because we are going to be picking a new anime at the end of next episode next time. We are finishing the end of the second of the dungeon arc, the second arc in Black Clover. We're going to finish that next Thursday. So if you would like to send in a suggestion to be put into the little bucket, it's 500 bits live during the show, and you could just suggest an anime. You're like, yo, Jules and Matt, I kind of want you to watch this one anime, and I kind of want to put it in the pool, and it's 500 bits, and that goes to both of us, and you get to put your favorite anime. Maybe we'll enjoy it, maybe we'll hate it, I don't know. Well, hopefully we'll like it, but
You'll get to hear our thoughts.
you get to hear our thoughts depending, no matter what it is. But let's get into these episodes here, and we have 13, 14, 15, and 16 that we watched this week. Go back if you haven't seen. We've been doing a podcast every week about anime, about Black Clover so far. But this one, episode 13, The Wizard King Saw, continued. So this is sort of the ending of the very first arc. Give us like a little breakdown, and then we'll get into it.
The episode 13 picks up right where the one previous left off. There's Asta and his party that were protecting Salim are in Hage Village. Because of complications, Sister Lily gets kidnapped by the group that Yuno fought in the previous episode, and the episode like pretty much showcases Yuno going after them, kind of turning the tables on all of them and rescuing Sister Lily with the help of his senior Klaus. and Mimosa, his colleague. Upon rounding them all up, all of the thieves revealed the Wizard King was in their group as well, spying on and what he was capable of doing.
I was kind of like over this episode,
Mhm.
gotta be honest. This is kind of where it was like a lull because I already knew something was fishy, like all from the start. The noble, like throughout the whole episode, throughout the whole beginning, where he's just like, oh, a potato bread or whatever they're eating at his like the whole thing where he specifically chose he wanted to go see Yuno's hometown and all this stuff. And I'm like, bro, this is super fishy. I know he's up to something, and figured it out when Sister Lily just got snatched up. Figured it out. It was him, and I was like, okay, I already know
Mhm.
it's him. So it was super eluding, and I was just kind of like, okay, cool.
It's super on the nose, and there's never a moment, I think, where the show expects you to be fooled by the things that are going on. But what it does do is that it showcases that the nobles in the region, the leader of the Golden Dawn, William Vengeance, he says it himself, like, no matter what evil happens within this kingdom, it's our job to snuff it out. And it kind of showcases that not all like perpetrators will be doing things so like overtly, like, and obviously sometimes people will take underhanded tactics in order to go after other people.
Yeah. Um, in the squad got a star, so that was kind of a thing. We also meet, I guess, sort of for the first time. This is the first time that we hear their name. The blue-haired character Marks, I think was their name, with the Wizard King. And it was all just sort of focusing on his connection with Klaus being nice for once. I was
For
like,
he gives him one like underhanded comment, yeah,
yeah, and
or
he kind of helps him
compliment.
out. Yeah, he helps him out and stuff. And I was like, yo, this is kind of cool. Like, um, and we're gonna talk about the rest of it, what proceeds after this. But like, I kind of like the way they're working together. I kind of like the way and Klaus work together. I love Mimosa's like plant magic.
Hmm.
I'm a big fan of her. And
And yeah, with her plant magic, that's what I was mentioning before, that like when we see her like pull her, her grimoire out, it's all covered in all this floral stuff, and she's probably not going to be a super huge like offensive caster, and sure enough, she's able to pull up a 3D like image of the whole area and be like, "Oh,
yeah,
pinpoint, enhance. Like let me see where this guy's at." Like
yeah.
what? That's so helpful.
I think even in one of the episodes that we watched, she even says like outright, like I'm the healer. Is was she the
Hmm.
one that said it? She was like just
Yeah.
outright, like I'm supposed to be the healer of the group, and I was like, oh,
Yeah.
okay, you said it.
There you
You
go.
got you got it on the nose. But um, this was fun. This was nice. I do like the one little jab at for not sending all of his money to the church like
Mm.
Asta did. Apparently, Asta sent all of his money
Or something
to the
like that.
church.
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. But like, I like them being coming back to the town. I like them, sort of re-engaging with his family again and showing them what where he's at and stuff, being a part of the Golden Dawn.
And I think it's really like just one of those things where headcanon, all of them probably more than likely like expected to see Asta before they would get to see Yuno again. And all of
Yeah.
a sudden, like Yuno is just popping up into town. Like what the heck?
I still like the Wizard King. I like that he's being mischievous. I like that he is keeping an eye on both of them because this episode was called the Wizard King saw, but last episode, the Wizard King saw Asta, and then
Hmm.
now the Wizard King saw and I kind of like that. I kind of like that he went out and looked at both of them, checked out their skills, and that leads to him picking them for this next thing. So,
Yeah.
episode 14, Dungeon. This is the start of the second arc and the final arc that we're going to be going on for Black Clover. Again, next episode is the final episode for Black Clover, and then at the end of the next Friday or next Thursday, at the end of the next episode, we're going to be picking a new anime. So, this is the last arc, and it starts here on episode 14, Dungeon. Matt, what's going on in episode 14?
Episode 14 kind of just throws a little bit of a new idea into the picture by introducing what I think it's they've referred to it as an anomalies in this world where magical things can just kind of happen without much reason, without much explanation. And in this case, like a dungeon has just risen from the ground on the border of the Clover Kingdom. And these dungeons normally hold like magical treasures or mysteries and stuff. So it's the job of the Magic Knights to investigate such anomalies and make sure that things are recovered for the kingdom and don't fall into enemy hands, such as the neighboring Diamond Kingdom. Uh, yeah, we see two squads set out for the dungeon. We see one squad from the Black Bulls, consisting of Noel, Asta, and Luck from the Black Bulls, and then we see the same squad from the Golden Dawn, Klaus, and Mimosa, and it kind of becomes this. By the end of the episode, it becomes this little race between and Asta in their heads, where who can get to the end of the dungeon first.
Yeah. So before we start that, they got a new opening, right?
Yes.
This episode.
New opening.
What?
Yes.
How do you feel? What kind of vibes are you getting from that one? I really liked it.
I think it kind of is a I think it's a good one that matches the tone of this arc, where it's kind of just like a very energetic, like let's go get it type track.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it feels like you're setting out to do something, to accomplish a task and get the job done. And that's essentially what the arc is about. It's about them accomplishing this task for their kingdom.
Yeah. It's a little dark. It's a little different. I like that. Again, I love when an opening has characters I don't know about, characters that I'm like, oh, who's that? Like, but by the end of the arc, I'm gonna know who they are. I like when they do that, when they just have silhouettes of people or like different images and things like that. So things that I haven't seen yet, but I will know by the end. But it was a little dark. The song was good. I really like this little intro. There was a lot of different colors. There was a ton of stuff. I want to talk about the ending song at the end of this one, but I love that they're all just chilling. They're all just chilling at the beginning of this episode. They're all hanging out. They're talking about the bird.
Yeah, they're trying to come up with a name.
The name of the bird, and then homie with the sister thing is like, the bird's name is Ma.
I'm gonna give you one letter from my sister's name. That's it.
But I think they call him. I couldn't figure out what they said because I don't have subtitles on. Narrow or Marrow?
Narrow. Nero.
So the bird's name is Narrow.
Narrow.
Bro, I love this little bird. This little bird is the cutest.
It's so spiteful.
Oh my god. I love that he just stays on top of Asta's head. He's just consistently there, nestles in there. But it just kind of reinforces the idea that everybody is just Yami's children.
Yeah.
They're just like,
they're just all doing their thing.
Out. They're vibing and they don't have nothing to do with, they have no direction seemingly. And then they're like, Yami gets back. He's like, all right, guys, let's get this thing going. And
I got an announcement.
Yeah. I love that dynamic where he's just kind of wrangling them up and they're all like, they're like, I don't know. It's just a fun environment.
I really like how Asta is just casually doing one-handed push-ups while Magna is just like completely sitting like on his back. And it's just so casual. Yeah. It's awesome. It's always a treat to see all the Black Bulls just hanging out.
That's one part I love, that I continue to love, that I haven't gotten tired of. During the last episode, like episode 13, I was kind of like, okay, let's get something else going on. But if we get like an episode or two of just the Black Bulls hanging out, I'm cool with that. Like I want an episode of just them doing whatever. Like we had the shopping episode and all that stuff. But we get some information in this one specifically, new information for me about how the Clover Kingdom, because usually in anime, whenever they mention like a kingdom or something, or sometimes they don't ever mention anything else. Like for all I know, this is the only thing on the planet, like just the one kingdom, and that's all I know about the planet. But and that's kind of how I thought the Clover Kingdom was. But now, because the way they explained it, like it was like it's a little circle, but then it's the outer rim, and then another rim outside. And I thought, okay, that's it. Like kind of like
That's the
Attack on
world
Titan or
as
whatever,
we
you
know
know?
it, or
Yeah, yeah,
whatever. Yeah.
yeah. But we get some more information about how they are bordered by the Diamond Kingdom, and
Hmm.
I was like, oh, this is really cool. I didn't know that, and that's a dope thing. And then we have uh this whole dungeon getting right in the middle of the Diamond Kingdom and the Clover Kingdom. I don't know. I didn't know how much luck was gonna be in it. And I didn't know how much I wanted luck to be in it. But so like right now at this point, episode 14, I was like, okay, are they gonna do like what they did with Magna? I was like, okay, let's see if we could do this formula again. Because last time, a couple episodes ago,
Hmm.
it was like Magna arc, whatever, whatever, and the other two, Noel and Asta. And now it's like, okay, here's luck, Asta and Noel. I was like, okay, could they do this again? So right now, I was a little apprehensive, but yeah,
And
it
I
was pretty good.
think I think it also can even come down to how Luck is characterized, where he's very jumpy, very like, I mean, even it cuts away where Yami says like, oh yeah, like Luck is so good at sensing magic, like he's so they'll be fine. Luck's with them. Cut back to Luck, who senses really strong magic another direction, and he's just like, okay, I'm gonna leave exploring to you guys. I'm off to fight. Boom, and he's just out of there. And
Yeah,
like that kind of is just like, well, you're now you're leaving like the group. This is where things are supposed to happen with your
yeah.
3-person group, and he just bolts away.
I liked the. Oh, we got some more information as well. That magic power is called mana. Didn't know
Mm.
that. I mean, I kind of assumed it was called mana, but they specifically said magic is called mana. And the dungeon reminded me a lot of the Breath of the Wild dungeon. I got those kind of vibes because,
Like
like
the
the
shrines.
yeah, like the shrines, like the waterfall sort of, and the way like the walls had like engravings on it and stuff. I don't know. It reminded me of Breath of the Wild. I was like, this is kind of cool.
It's very, very cool the way the dungeon just kind of like opens up into that huge like room, and like you can, like Noel says, like the mana is so dense in the air and everything. It's I think it's a really cool setting to see the like things play out after we've seen them go through like a town where like a huge spell was cast over it, but it's like now they're in this huge magical area where anything can really happen.
One last thing about this episode that I kind of want to bring up was that we got like a 2 second blink if you miss it flashback of young Yami and the Wizard King. He
Hmm.
was like, man, the Wizard King's weird. And then they get this like flashback of younger Yami and Wizard King, and I was like, wait, what? I was like, yo, this is cool.
He
So they
says
some
that the Wizard King is able to see things that nobody else can.
yeah, they have some sort of connection that we didn't know about. And I was like, yo, that's pretty dope. Um Bubsy, thank you for the 24 months. I appreciate it. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Subhype.
Sub hype, holy cow, you didn't get the alert because we're doing the podcast. But hi, hello, thank you, Bubsy, thank you for the 24 months. I appreciate it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Let's get into episode 15, the Diamond Mage. And this is where it kicks off. It
Hmm.
gets pretty crazy.
uh episode Episode 15 picks up right after episode 14, where Yuno and the Golden Dawn crew kind of comes to the rescue of Asta and Noel as they got into a little bit of trouble. Um, Set off for the race. They're all heading to the bottom of the dungeon to see who can get there first. Yuno and his group kind of all take off on this little like wind thing and just kind of chariot up into the air in search of the bottom of the dungeon. Meanwhile, Asta and Noel are trying to figure out how they're gonna get down there, and Nero just kind of starts like navigating for them a little bit, leading them around. um Luck is fighting with a mage who's using this weird like smoky type of magic.
Mm-hmm.
All of his spells like create all these like smoky magical effects, and as the fight goes on, um Luck is Luck is unable to kind of like get the upper hand on this mage. And a short while later, after Yuno's group departed to find the bottom of the dungeon, they find it, and they're kind of figuring out how to open the door to the treasure room. And just out of nowhere, these crystals come running along the floor and knock Mimosa out of commission before anybody's even able to realize what's happening.
I love Mimosa. I think I like her more than Noelle. I love that she's kind of sassy.
I love right at yeah, their first interaction. I don't know if it is just her being kind of like an airhead or if it's intentional, but Noelle recognizes Mimosa right away, and like Mimosa's just like, "Oh yeah, you still don't know how to control your powers, right? How's that going for you?" It's just like, dude.
And that Mimosa's her cousin. Noelle hates her a bunch, and they're like both being just super petty to each other.
Uh-huh.
It's just great. I love
I
it.
on Noelle's side, you can tell it's intentional, and it's like because you're getting those little bits of her psyche, her thoughts, her inner thoughts. But with Mimosa, I go back and forth between thinking she's just oblivious, like she's just not even registering what she is saying is rude. It's just like
I
she
don't.
thinks she's being
Yeah,
nice and
I,
pleasant.
I really don't think she knows. And that's kind of why I like her, because like
Hmm.
she doesn't get it. She's just like, what do you mean? Like, I mean, she like if you were like, yo, you can't just say that about Noah. Like, you can't just say like, does she still have problems with her magic? You can't just say that. And she'd be like, why
Why?
not? It's true.
It's
And it's like,
Noelle.
well,
It's
you
my
can't.
cousin.
Yeah, you can't just go around saying that, man. Um, but yeah. So we got a lot of people in this dungeon because they want
Hmm.
to find the treasure. They want to get it going. We got a group from the Diamond Kingdom, who's headed by the Lotus of the Abyss, with this smoke magic. So far, we've seen smoke, we've seen plant, we've seen a lot of different elements and stuff, which is really cool. I
Hmm.
like that everybody sort of has like an element. We haven't seen like a well, we've kind of seen like an overlap of elements, but so far they've all been varying,
Even
uh f-
the
for the most part.
previous episode or in the first episode of the day, 13, we get to see Klaus actually use some offensive magic for the first time, and he has like these steel drills that he can like fire off, which is really cool. His whole like steel magic going on.
Mm-hmm. Um, so that's really interesting. I was curious about this Lotus of the Abyss guy,
And
and
even though
he
the Wizard King mentions that like he had fought the wizard or the Lotus of the Abyss once, he had a really interesting magic that he used, and he says it like amusingly, and everybody's like, should you be joking about that? Cut to the Lotus, who mentions upon seeing the Black Bulls, he recognizes their robes, and he's like, "Oh, I fought your leader once. He used a really
exactly.
interesting type of magic." It's like everybody's fought everybody here.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That Lotus of the Abyss fought Yami at some point, and he's like, "How could I forget?" He gave me this whole fucking scar. It's like, "Yo, that's cool. I love that subtle that what they've been doing really well for the most part is like doing these sort of little world building things by not just outright saying like doing like a flashback or like doing like a whole story around it. They're world building by giving us little details and connections between each character.
One line in there, one line in connection, and it's like, and that's all you need.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like in the last episode, it was what did I say, that the whole little just a picture of Yami with the Wizard King, and I'm like,
Hmm.
oh, okay, so they have something back there, and then now it's even like Lotus and the Yami. I was like, okay, that's crazy. So they're all sort of the same age, and I'm like, okay, this gives me a lot of context without saying too much, which is really cool. And I also like how Mimosa knows Noel,
Yep.
how fuck Asta and Yuno, like, you know what I mean? Like there's a bunch of little connections here, but they haven't been together, and now we're seeing them sort of together in this episode. I like that there was a mimic, or like the little
That
treasure
thing is
chest.
so gross. I hate that. I hate that thing.
I mean, I didn't know what to expect when you opened up the chest. It was literally just all the organs.
Yep.
I was like, okay, cool. Something I didn't mention in the last episode, the ending song,
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
bro. That that was hype. It's so good. It hit right at the best moment. When the first time that we hear it on episode 14, it hits.
Yep.
It was like boom, like there it is, and I was like, yes, it's so good.
It's a perfect moment for that introduction of something like a new ending, a new song, where you are kind of like reinstating the stakes, or really kind of showcasing what you're watching is all about to be about. And like in that moment before it's introduced, it's Asta and Yuno like kind of declaring like, let's see who can get to the bottom. And that's well, it's one of the biggest cores of the show, not the core, but we've seen it play out so far a lot, like their rivalry. And this is like, since they have both like joined the Magic Knights, we've seen them kind of set off on these little things, isolated from each other. But it's like now they've met again, and now it's time for them to test their mettle on where they are at now since joining the Magic Knights.
But they're not even that far in yet.
They're not even that far.
I
But,
don't even think they learned anything.
But I think when in episode 13, Sister Lily or mentions that it's only been like 2 months or 3 months. But even Sister Lily's like, but you look matured. Your face has grown.
True.
Like you look like you've grown up.
Has learned? I mean, okay, we're gonna talk about the next episode, but like, has Yuno even been taught anything? I know they all went, like both groups have gone on their first mission already. Like, yes, they're already done their first mission or whatever, but like they haven't even like learned a new power really. Well, Noel was the only one that we saw that learned a new power in the Magic Knights, and I was like, okay, well, but now we're like barely in it, so I kind of want to see. I kind of want to see them to get like some training, but we know Yami's not going to do that.
I think with you like questioning like that whole well, has he learned anything? That's kind of like what the next episode starts to showcase. As because it introduces the previous the one we were talking about, the Diamond Mage. It introduces this new foe that had just attacked Mimosa with all of these crystals on the ground that materialized. And yeah, he looks like a formidable opponent. I'm pretty sure they even say they sense a great amount of mana coming from him. But yeah, that gets into that in the next episode for sure.
So episode 16, Friends. Give us a little breakdown of episode 16.
So episode 16 kind of shows these two battles as they play out. The one between Luck and this the Lotus Mage, and the one between Klaus Yuno and the Diamond Mage. Things are kind of going south for Luck as the Mage has like cast this spell that can't really be seen, and it leaves Luck in kind of a weakened state, debilitated almost. And that's just as Asta and Noel arrive to back him up. We get to see a little bit of a flashback with Luck, and like some minor glimpses into what he's gone through growing up in relation to his power and his magic and stuff. Over with Klaus and Yuno, they're fighting the Diamond Mage, and without even opening his grimoire, the Diamond Mage is able to repel all their attacks. Klaus kind of tells Yuno, hey, you need to go do the door thing, and you need to go do the door, I'll hold this guy off. And it's a the show does the whole power of friendship is going to save the day. It pulls one of those cards, but it does it in a not not super distasteful way, in my opinion. But it does pull the friendship card out, and the episode essentially resolves with Asta and Noelle helping Luck get the upper hand. Yuno tries to pull out this trump card attack on the Diamond Mage, and it leaves no effect on him as he draws his grimoire and casts a spell to deflect the entire attack that Yuno attempted.
So I think this is the one I had the most problem with, I guess, out of all the episodes, just because it was kind of weird.
Mm-hmm.
I do like how we're getting a lot of Luck. We're getting his electricity magic. We're seeing a lot of that. We're seeing his little armor and stuff. And at the end of the last episode, he got that power. He was like, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do all that stuff. And then we dive into like his trauma and all this stuff. Like his mom just passed away and like stuff like that. And he's gonna fight for her and all that stuff. But he has this sort of like, this reminded me of Fire Force, because this is sort of the same thing where he just has this smile whenever things get crazy. It's very similar. I was like, oh, okay.
You're actually right. I've never even made that connection.
Yeah, I was like, this is literally the same thing. Except that his Lux doesn't look as scary.
Because he's not showing his shark teeth with it.
Shark teeth.
But in the flashback that we get to see diving into everything with Luck, it showed him have a much wilder smile at some pretty grim times. Like he did kind of just have a jaw agape, like Joker-esque smile on his face, and people were just kind of like, "Oh, look out for that kid!" Like he's a commoner. His magic's more powerful than nobles. His mom kind of just dropped dead, and he's always smiling. Like everybody, watch out for that kid.
Did I miss it? Why is he more powerful?
It never really does get into that, and
okay,
like I think that's kind of like, even his mom says that, like it's super uncommon for, like, you know, commoners to be more powerful than nobles, so like just keep fighting. If you're good at it, just keep fighting and keep winning.
So that could just happen for anybody. Like
his name's Luck. He got lucky.
I get okay. Which came first, the name or the power? I don't know. The chicken or the egg, really. But like, yeah, I don't know. The introduction of that was like, okay, kind of a little flawed, but like
it's a little. It comes off a little flat-footed, just in the way that it's executed. Where it's like, okay, he's an animal, like against in the corner, because, you know, he's going into this weakened state, so you're supposed to buy into this thing that, like, now it's the first time he's being pushed to that level, so now he's kicking it into overdrive. His body, is like instincts are kicking it or whatever. But it, with that layered on top of it, you kind of are left with, well, is it like, you know, this connection with his past that's going off right now, or is it the battle at hand that's going off right now? Like, what's kind of internally, where's his conflict right now?
Yeah, because they give us all this information, and like I love it. I love that we're learning about Luck. I love, like, we get to see what's going on there. But I'm just like, what? This isn't a fully formed thing, and I know they don't have to spend a whole lot of. He's not the main character.
Yes,
they don't have to spend a bunch of time on it. But I also liked that is having to choose between his commanding officer Klaus or Asta. And I feel like this is going to come up more times in the future, where he's going to have to make some difficult choices, and he's going to have his Golden Dawn people, or Magic Knights in general, telling him, like, we got to do this and we got to do this other thing. And already we've seen him sort of defy twice. We've seen him defy it in the first episode we saw, episode 13, where he was just like, I'm gonna go save Lily, like I'm gonna go save Sister Lily, like that's what I'm gonna do with my family.
And he's pretty much like, you're gonna get court-martialed for that, and Yuno's just like, I'm still gonna go save Sister Lily, and he just zips off on his broom.
And here, like, Klaus is like, what are you doing? Like, I'm telling you what to do, and he's like, well, no, I'm gonna go. He's my friend, you know, he's my best friend. He's my rival, and he's like, I'm gonna go with Asta and also. So like, I feel like this is gonna be a common thing where Asta and Yuno are gonna not have to. They're gonna choose each other every time, and that could make some interesting dynamics because they are against each other,
They're
or
rivals,
will
yeah.
they, won't they? But like,
It does. The episode is like it's the episode's called Friends, and it does, like I said, it pulls that the power of friendship shall overcome card. It pulls that out of pocket, but it gives it with the context of Yuno and Asta's past, a little flashback of them as kids, where it's like they're like, hey, even though we're not like literally brothers, we treat each other like family, even though we're just friends. Like if we ever make any friends as like things go along, like we need to treat them as family too. And that's essentially the consensus that Asta and like both come to in the moment, where it's like they could either go for something, go for broke, or like believe in their friends and like helping them to accomplish the task together. And that's what they
mhm.
both go for. And we get to see the Black Bulls pull off this like little combo attack where, almost like
Combo,
with Magna, the how
wombo
like each of
combo.
them's providing a different aspect to defeating an enemy, where like Luck kind of like uses his little bolts to like shoot and
That.
push this guy into one direction,
Mhm.
and then Noelle launches Asta using her little water magic at like point blank distance with her
Yeah.
wand. She launches Asta knowing where that guy is going to be, and Asta just swings for the hills and just knocks this guy out. And I love the moment where he's like, I got them now. They're going to suffocate on my smoke, and and then like in one moment like there's blood coming out of his mouth, and
Yeah,
then
he's
he's
like, what?
flying towards the wall.
Yeah. I
I
yeah,
love that
that
whole sequence.
again, the Black Bulls are my favorite. I know they're not shit. They ain't shit. They're nothing in a fight, probably. Like in a real fight, like I know the Golden Dawn can smoke them if they were 1v1 or whatever.
Sure.
But the way that they're working together, the way that they're hanging out together, like that's kind of like bridging the gap, right? That we see them a lot, hanging out a lot and just vibing, and that coincides with them working well together out in the field. So to me, it's like you need to have that sort of camaraderie to have the teamwork
Hmm.
out when you're actually fighting. And I'm like,
it,
oh,
it's
that's really cool.
it's building the compatibility with your squad, so that way when that time comes for things and the like things that need to happen in a pinch, you can
Mm-hmm.
all they can all like communicate with each other and construct a plan like that and be able to pull it off, because all like Luck in a moment is like, dang, no matter what we do, all the smoke's going to keep coming. And then he sees Asta do one like uppercut through the smoke and cut through it,
Bro, hold
and
up.
that hatches the whole plan for him.
I hated that. They're like, he's gonna. I hated that because they're fucking spelling it out for us.
Yeah, I
Uh,
know. But it's like,
Luck was
then if
like,
they don't spell it out somehow, then it's like then things are just happening, and it's like, well,
yeah,
all
I
right.
guess so. Luck was like, how are we gonna get close to him? Because he can notice all of our magic powers. He notices our magic powers whenever we get close to him. So we can't even get close to him because he's gonna notice us with our magic powers. And it's like, shoom. Oh, Asta doesn't have magic powers. We'll use Asta. And I'm like, I was
I
I'm
was right there with you, my
me
guy.
watching Dora me watching Dora the Explorer, like the map is in the top left. The top left. He's behind the rock. Like that's literally how I felt in these episodes specifically. I'm just like, bro, I'm already 10 steps ahead of you. What,
Just
just
do it.
say it. Say it. Um in this episode, it was really odd for Luck to be like, my friends, and I was like, this is way too late, dog.
Yes.
You need what, like, did you have any problem with this episode? Because like it was just like, oh, I have friends, and oh my god, like this is so I'm like, know that though? Like, why are you realizing this now?
That's where what I was saying earlier comes into play, where it's like you don't understand what conflict he's kind of attempting to overcome, and at that, like, through this fight, like, where, like, you get the context of a conflict that he has, his trauma, like you said, but it never really feels connected to the, like, the fight that's going on. Like, sure, like you said, that you'd win and you're possibly about to lose or whatever, but then, yeah, all of a sudden it's like, okay, but now you realize you have friends to help you. Like, 2 episodes ago you were picking fun of Magna over eating his pudding so he would get to fight you. That's pretty sure you realize that that's a friendship right there. Like,
Yeah.
is whatever it is, it's a friendship.
So there was
No,
character
yeah,
development, but it's like,
it feels very disconnected and jarring for
yeah.
sure.
So I was totally on the luck train, and I was like super about having luck be one of the main characters for this. I think if they try to do this one more time, I don't think I'll be out. I don't think I'll be about it. Where they're like, let's bring one of the Black Bulls with us, and let's do a whole mini arc with this one. And I feel like they might do that because they've done it twice already. And I'm like, I don't know if this is gonna work. I don't know if we could keep doing this. Um,
Following that formula.
yeah, the same formula where like let's isolate one with Asta and Noel, and let's do a little story on them. And
Hmm.
it's like, okay, we're good. Wait, let's do something else. But
Hmm.
overall, so far, I do enjoy this whole little dungeon thing. Um
I like the concept of anomalies. I like that as the story goes forward, we continue to, like you were saying, like, it introduces the different kingdoms, kind of that whole thing. Like, it expands the world, and I like that it's doing that as the show is, like, going along with how much do you need to know in reference to where the story is going right now. Here's what you need to match that, and it kind of just continues to feed that in equal amount, instead of just like huge amounts of exposition like all at
yeah.
once, minus the whole every the start of every episode, there was once a wizard king and he saved
uh,
other than that, I feel like it's never super exposition heavy, and the show just does a really good job at its world building and so forth.
Although I do think that Asta broke his record for longest time not mentioning a Wizard King, because I think he lasted. I mean, we didn't see him all episode 13. I think episode 14, I don't think we heard it at all. And I think he said it once in 15. I think that's what it was. I gotta put a
That's
counter on
character
that.
development.
Yeah. Because when I finally heard him say the Wizard King, that I'm gonna be the Wizard King, I was like, oh, we
I
haven't
haven't heard
heard
that in a
this. Like,
while.
I
Yeah.
haven't heard that, this whole time. So I was like, okay, cool. He's saying it less, but we still get it in the intro.
Hmm.
Who was your favorite character for these episodes here?
For these episodes, I really think it is like it's even though we only see a little bit of the Wizard King, like, he has just his lines are just so good. Like,
Yeah,
every line he has is doing something to add to his character, and I love that.
very minimal for now,
For now.
but I know. I mean, he's the guy, right?
Yeah.
Like he's supposed to be the toughest, the strongest, whatever.
Hmm.
He's the Wizard King. He's the one. Asta and Yuno are gonna meet him somehow. It's coming. So I'm
And then
excited for that.
who would your favorite character be for these episodes?
Um, I liked. I really do like Mimosa, but I just don't know why. She's just silly. But I really do like the introduction of the Lotus of the Abyss, because I did not expect him to be there in the dungeon. When it first came up, and they're like, "Oh, the leader of the Diamond Kingdom is Lotus the Abyss, whatever, whatever." He has this magic, and I was like, "Okay, cool, cool, cool. He's the leader." And then like we see Luck going around, and it's like, "Oh wait, that's him." And I was like, "Oh no!" So I thought he was just gonna send some of his minions. I didn't even think we were gonna meet him, and he's in there, and I'm like, "Oh Jesus, okay." This kind of caught me off guard for sure.
I love even though he keeps saying like, oh, like I'm an old man, you're gonna make this old man's gonna cry and stuff like that. He makes all those little lines. I love the little bit that you get of him where he's like, yeah, while you were busy taking out all of my subordinates, like I filled this room with a poisonous gas, by the way. They went down for a reason. It's like, oh shoot, like because when we see it's like it looks like luck has the upper hand in that
Mm-hmm.
situation, but given that context, that scene's completely recontextualized where it's like he's sitting there trying to get Luck to keep talking to
Yeah,
take in the gas.
he's
He's
waiting.
trying to stall.
I love that. I
Yeah.
love those like I love that when it's like the other person doesn't know what's going on, but there's one that's just OP automatically. Like he already knows he won. He's just gotta he's
Wait it
gotta
out.
chill. And I
You're
love that.
already dead.
Yeah, you're already dead. It's great. What was your favorite moment of these 4 episodes?
Favorite moment is definitely what I was like describing before, the sequence of the Black Bulls working together in order to defeat or at least take out temporarily the leader, the Lotus, because yeah, he proves himself to be quite formidable, and yet they're able to pull a quick one on him and using the power of Asta's non-power.
Yeah, the the non-power. I like Yuno's dual casting. That's an interesting uh it looks cool. He was like this spell and this spell, and
Hmm.
they're like, is he dual casting? And I was like,
Yeah,
is he
Klaus is like
dual cast?
I forget the line that Klaus really says for context, but it's something along the lines of like, he's doing that at his level,
Yeah.
something like that.
I thought that looked really cool, just like the visual of what's behind him, and then just going forward. Um, yeah, I think that's some of the fight stuff. I huh, I enjoyed these episodes. I enjoyed the other episodes more. I'm not
Hmm.
saying this is bad. These are bad. Um, but I don't know. Maybe I'm jaded from Hunter x Hunter because I'm watching the Chimera Ants arc at the same time. But I was just like, okay, well, let's get it going. Let's go.
Hmm.
But yeah, I did enjoy these episodes. I like that I'm seeing the start of a new arc and how they're handling it. So like it's giving me more, except for the whole intro thing, that it takes 3 minutes for the show to start. That's probably my biggest gripe. That's the only thing that really sucks.
I do feel like as the show goes on, that problem subsides or isn't as relevant or something. Like the pacing improves, the pacing of the episode structure improves for sure as time goes on. But that's not due to Black Clover being a better about it. That's due to like all anime at that time starting to really get better at it
Okay,
as we were hitting like 2018, 2019. Everything
sure.
was a lot better about respecting people's time because they know we're just streaming it.
Next week, next Thursday, is the final episode about Black Clover. So next week, watch episodes 17, 18, and 19, right? It's only 3 episodes. 3 episodes left for the arc. 17, 18, and 19. So if you want to catch up and if you want to be joining the discussion with us, watch episode 17, 18, and 19 of Black Clover before next week. We're going to watch it. And next week we are going to pick a new anime to watch, and we're going to give our like a little grade. So we're going to, by the end of the episode next week, next Thursday, we're going to be like, okay, where does Black Clover rank? Where is this for us? And I have some ideas, some thoughts, but this will be our first one that we finish, and we are gonna continue going on through different anime. But if you would like to send in your suggestion during the live show, if you submit 500 bits, 500 bits gets a anime put into the bucket to for us to possibly pick out. I have 2 pulls. I have 2 suggestions in there. Matt has one. We got one from CZ, and you can add some more in there. But we're gonna be adding every time we pull from it, so it's gonna be pretty cool. So hopefully we pick a good one for next time. But Matt, we have one more episode. Where can they find you during the week on the internet?
On all my socials, I am at it's Matt underscore Galley. All socials, it's Matt underscore Galley. On Twitch at Matt_Galley.
Cool. I'm Jules the Human, Jules the Human on everything YouTube, youtube.com/Jules the Human. I'm making a lot of shorts over there, TikTok. And yeah, you're probably watching this on something of mine, but go ahead and subscribe to the show on Spotify. You can watch the video on Spotify. A lot of people don't know, and a lot of people are like, oh, you can watch Joe Rogan's podcast or whatever on Spotify. It's a video. Spotify has video for podcasts. So if you want to watch our podcast in video and you don't want to go to my YouTube channel, do it on Spotify, or Apple Podcasts if you have an Apple device. But yeah, subscribe to the
Wherever you
show
listen to your stuff.
wherever you listen to everything. Leave us a review, and thanks to everybody that joined us in the live stream. We live stream it usually on Thursdays, but it's Turkey Day tomorrow, and this episode is gonna be up on Friday to watch or rewatch later. But I'm Jules the Human. That's Matt, and we are talking about anime, Black Clover, and we'll see you next week.